Hollywood is all about dramatic ups and downs, but Rachel Zegler's story is a very different animal. She will one day be heralded as the new golden girl of cinema. The next, she's immersed in criticism and scandal. Rachel Zegler was supposed to be so beautiful that even supermodels like Gal Gadot are supposed to be homicidally jealous of her. I mean, we're supposed to suspend our disbelief entirely. How exactly does someone go from being the industry's darling to its pariah practically overnight? The tale of Rachel. At first, early success seemed like the stuff of a timeless Hollywood fairy tale. She was cast as the lead in Steven Spielberg's version of West Side Story after being discovered via a widely shared audition video. Audiences were enthralled by this bright-eyed novice taking on such a famous character, and critics couldn't stop gushing about her vocal ability and on-screen persona. During her interviews, Rachel appeared to be truly overcome by her luck. People believe that my entire trajectory was phony, and occasionally I wake up thinking that, but it's just a tribute to taking chances. She discussed the incredible feeling of being handpicked by Spielberg out of thousands of applicants, and how, since she was a teenager, she had wanted to see her name on lights. On the surface, everything appeared to be flawless, and she teased fans with her new version of West Side Story, pledging to respect the original while adding something fresh. Her fame was rising quickly. Industry insiders were speculating that she had entered the A-list much earlier than usual newbies, and social media loved her appearing sincere thanks. However, even in these early days, there were hints that something wasn't quite right. There were rumors that she was very outspoken for a newcomer to Hollywood. There were rumors of small arguments with the choreographers, but both critics and fans wrote them off as normal backstage turmoil. Everyone was too captivated by this up-and-coming celebrity to see the impending storm. The truth behind the scenes seemed to be very different. Backstage rumors began to circulate from unidentified crew members as West Side Story's promotional tour gathered steam. According to some, Rachel frequently objected to choreography notes, sometimes stopping entire shoots to demand adjustments that would better fit her. Other reports indicated that she argued with department heads about costumes, claiming that some didn't fit her character interpretation or didn't look good on her. The murmurs increased in volume. She was more than just fervent. She might have been unruly. Spielberg, who is renowned for encouraging cooperative, serene sets, kept his innermost views to himself. Considering that she had already been publicly hailed as Rachel's next big thing, he had the fact that she landed the role was due to her extraordinary acting skills rather than her talent as a vocalist. Pushing back against an industry legend would often be career suicide for any novice. However, Rachel was unafraid to stand up for herself. Some referred to this as confidence, while others dubbed it hubris. Apparently, some longtime Spielberg collaborators attempted to mediate, explaining that the director's process requires trust rather than constant negotiation. However, based on these accounts, Rachel remained unmoved, convinced that her instincts mattered more than the experience of an Oscar-winning visionary. Rumors claimed she questioned editing choices, questioned camera angles, and even argued about dialogue. Spielberg kept up a favorable public image of Rachel for a while. Her voice and on-screen magnetism were praised by viewers at the positive early test screenings for West Side Story. However, insiders said behind closed doors that the director's tolerance was ebbing with every new dispute. He was used to mentoring emerging talent. Consider Drew Barrymore, Christian Bale, and the innumerable young celebrities who thrived while he was their tutor. However, things seemed to be different in this case. There were rumors that Spielberg thought Rachel's attitude was a major barrier, with one insider claiming that he thought she was a terrible person to deal with. If accurate, that one remark rocked the business. Spielberg is renowned for developing up-and-coming talent. Therefore, his claimed disparaging remarks against a novice served as a warning to other producers and filmmakers. Spielberg never acknowledged or refuted these reports of conflict in public. That quiet said a lot. Many took note of his profuse praise of Ariana Dios. Rachel's co-star on West Side Story describes her performance as captivating and highlights her talents. However, Rachel only got, at most, token recognition. Industry insiders started making assumptions. Did Spielberg purposefully withhold his permission? And if so, what were the reasons behind these rumors? Until Rachel was cast as Snow White in Disney's enormous live-action remake, the Snow White debate hung over her like a distant thunderclap, seemingly solidifying her fame. Nobody anticipated that it would actually signal the start of her shocking decline. Disney invested more than $250 million in the budget because of their extremely high expectations for Snow White. Similar to Beauty and the Beast, executives were counting on the remake's certain nostalgia and star power to enthrall a new generation of fans. Investing in this timeless tale of a princess, a poisoned apple, and a redemptive kiss made perfect sense, but the production was dogged by controversy from the start. To modernize the story, the dwarfs were changed into magical creatures, and many people felt that these classic elements were necessary to the fairy tale's appeal. When Rachel referred to the original Snow White as creepy and the prince as a stalker in her personal comments, it just made matters worse. Not only did these remarks annoy fans, but they also sparked a full-scale controversy among Disney devotees. When the movie debuted, viewers were already rather dubious. The outcome was a box office catastrophe, so severe that it was alleged that Disney executives convened emergency meetings to address the film's disastrous performance. Critics ripped it apart, blaming the studio of overly trying to be politically correct and branding the adaptation a failure. Rachel's portrayal of the traditional princess was criticized for being heartless, which sparked a barrage of unfavorable critiques. It was said that Disney was in a frenzy behind closed doors. This was meant to be a surefire smash, an essential component of their growing collection of reimagined classics. Rather, it turned into a warning story. And Rachel Zegler's name appeared in the midst of every unfavorable headline, with many people ruthlessly accusing her of being responsible for the movie's failure. Even worse, videos of her interviews went viral for the wrong reasons. Her treatment of a beloved childhood icon as an antiquated relic instead of approaching the project with reverence infuriated people, but even that might not have totally destroyed her reputation if she had responded differently. Instead, she allowed the situation to get out of hand. Most celebrities damage control when a movie flops this catastrophically by expressing regret or humility, which is the usual route to public forgiveness. Rachel adopted a fresh strategy after realizing that, in spite of everyone's best efforts, something went wrong. She reportedly placed some of the responsibility on outside variables, arguing that Disney's marketing efforts were eclipsed by public enthusiasm in the upcoming Minecraft film. Fans thought this was an absurd justification, and the internet quickly turned it into a meme. Twitter was filled with satirical videos. Every social media site, including TikTok, features Minecraft avatars defeating Disney princesses with captions like, "Snow White lost to the blocks." If Rachel had hoped that her explanation would make things easier, her strategy would have failed miserably. The audience was desperate for Spielberg to issue an apology, or at the very least admit that the movie had upset devoted Snow White fans, but they received neither. As the bad rumors grew, word leaked out that Rachel was turning down some inquiries from the media. Instead of taking part in a planned apology tour, she appeared to withdraw, creating the idea that she was only excited when things were going her way. Using her own interviews as fodder, critics mercilessly attacked her, painting her as conceited and disengaged. Fans who had previously viewed her as West Side Story's bright new star started to question whether they had been duped by Disney and Spielberg's skillfully planned public relations campaign. Spielberg then continued to remain silent, which was another setback. You would think that with all of these catastrophes, he would step in and set the record straight. But his silence said to many that those purportedly unflattering stories might be accurate. When Hollywood's most renowned director declines to stand up for you, the message reverberates across the business. Words are important in Tinseltown, but silence can speak louder than words. Spielberg, who is known for supporting up-and-coming performers who go on to become household names, was noticeably mute about Rachel. He didn't confirm or refute the repulsive rumor about being a terrible person to work with. Instead, he let it fester, and his silent inaction sent shockwaves across the industry. Producers, executives, and agencies become more cautious. People started examining past press conferences for West Side Story and evaluating Spielberg's.